All right, let's get right into it, because this is one of those stories that is just baffling. Imagine the government builds this incredible corruption-busting tool, and then nobody uses it. I mean, really, nobody.
And it all kicks off with this number, 1 trillion rand. A 1 with 12 zeros after it. That's roughly what the South African state spends every single year buying goods and services. Procurement. This is by far the single largest pot of public money, and let's be honest, for decades, it's been the playground for corruption and just, well, bad management.
So to try and get a grip on that trillion rand, the National Treasury did something pretty amazing, actually. They built this, the Public Procurement Payments Dashboard. And what is it? It's a free, online tool that's meant to track every single payment to every supplier from pretty much every government department. It's a game changer, or it was supposed to be.
Okay, so this isn't just some slick-looking website. No. This is a serious piece of tech, a real trillion rand watchdog. So let's see what this thing can actually do.
So first up, you get the big picture view. Bam! Instantly, you can see the top 10 suppliers getting the most money. And look who's right there at the top, SITA, the State Information Technology Agency. Just like that, you get a gut feeling for where these huge chunks of public money are actually going.
But then you can zoom in, right? You can break down all that spending by province. And would you look at that? Gauteng is way out in front. And that lets you start asking the right questions, doesn't it? Like, okay, why is so much money being spent right there? Does it match up with the population, with the services that people actually need?
But honestly, here's where it gets really powerful. This is the good stuff. You can see every single transaction, line by line. The supplier's name, which department paid them, the exact amount, even a description. It's all there. This is the kind of raw data that lets you do some real deep dive forensic-style digging.
And you know what? This wasn't just some nice-to-have side project. The Zondo Commission, the huge state capture inquiry, they specifically, explicitly called for a tool exactly like this. The final report said it loud and clear. Corruption was thriving in the shadows precisely because there was no transparency, no real-time way to watch the money. Well, now there is.
So, the tool got built. It was launched. It was literally the thing everyone said we needed. And then, crickets. Just this weird and frankly troubling silence.
Okay, so let's look at the timeline. The dashboard goes live in November 2025. The minister is out there calling it a massive step forward. Great. But in the 5 months since that launch, from the very people whose job it is to watch this stuff, almost nothing. Near total silence.
So you just have to ask, right? Where are the tough questions in Parliament, backed up by this data? Where are the big front-page news investigations? Where are the press conferences? I mean, why aren't opposition parties standing in front of a big screen, pointing at this dashboard and showing all of us exactly where our money is going?
It's like that old saying, if a watchdog barks in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it even bark? So let's get specific. Who are these missing watchers we're talking about?
Look, this really comes down to 3 key groups. First, you've got the opposition parties in Parliament. I mean, oversight is literally their job. It's in the Constitution. Then you have investigative journalists, the same folks who broke the state capture stories in the first place. And of course, civil society groups like UTA and Corruption Watch, who have the brains to turn all this raw data into cold, hard evidence. So, what's going on?
Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Hey, not everyone has internet access. And you're right. About 21% of the country is offline. But, and this is a big but, the vast majority, almost 80% of South Africans are online. And more to the point, the groups we're talking about here, the MPs, the journalists, the analysts, I guarantee you, they are not in that 21%. They have internet.
So let's just call it what it is. This is not an access problem. The tool is there, the internet is there, this is an attention problem. And, unlike laying fiber optic cables, paying attention, that's a choice.
All right, so what are we missing out on here? What could actually happen if these groups did start paying attention? What does real data-driven accountability even look like?
The actual process here is surprisingly simple. It's really just 3 steps. Step 1, an analyst or a journalist uses the dashboard to find weird patterns, anomalies. Step 2, an MP takes that finding and asks a super specific, evidence-based question in Parliament. Something like, Minister, can you please explain this exact payment to this specific company? And step 3, you use that data as a weapon to demand real accountability, not just, more political speeches.
And that right there, that's the whole point. Transparency, on its own, isn't enough. It's not magic. It's like installing a security camera, but never actually watching the footage. The power to stop bad behavior, the deterrent effect, it only kicks in when the people who might do wrong know that someone is actually watching.
So, let's recap the problem. We have the tool, but the watchers are asleep at the wheel, and we need to be very, very clear about the real-world cost of this silence.
Yeah, this isn't some abstract academic debate. The cost of this inaction is real. It's measured in things that don't get done. Every single rand that gets wasted or stolen, a rand that could have been tracked with this tool, that's a school that doesn't get built. It's a clinic that runs out of medicine. It's a road that's just full of potholes year after year.
And really, that's the heart of the story, isn't it? On one hand, you have the infrastructure. The government, specifically National Treasury, actually delivered. They built a world-class transparency tool. But on the other hand, you have the oversight instinct, the simple will from politicians and civil society to actually use the thing. And right now, that seems to be missing in action.
So we end right back where we started, but now with a challenge. The data is public. The government put it out there for all of us to see. The tool is switched on. The info is free. The only question left, the really big one, is this: who is going to do the work?